Good night. It is January 21, 2025, and it is a Wednesday. Here in Sherbrooke, it is currently -8 degrees Celsius, 18 degrees Fahrenheit, and snowing. The sun this morning rose at 7:19 a.m., and it has set already at 4:39 p.m. That's 9 hours and 20 minutes of sunlight. I go through this every year, but I am fed up at this point, really, truly, of the sun setting before 5 p.m., even before 6 p.m., or whatever. Like, it's really starting to take its toll. But I've also been stuck at home since last Friday because I've been very sick. I'm restarting this video. I was already like 18 minutes into the video and hadn't even gotten to the song that I wanted to talk about. I'll just speed through. So, holidays. It's been a month, maybe even a bit more. And every time I try to make a weather report, I tried a couple times, I end up taking like 20 minutes to just try to catch up and just put in a bunch of details. If you've heard any of my videos before, you likely know that I have a lot of difficulty staying on one subject without, just totally going off on something else. So let me give the Cliff's Notes version. The holidays were okay. I mean, I saw my mom. I saw my sister, which was nice. I went over to my mother's for Christmas, and yeah, it was nice, but we were both really tired. And we had just the annual Zoom call with my mom, my sister, and my mom's sister's husband, my aunt and uncle, which was just, as every year, just not fun. I at least think that my aunt is starting to get dementia, which is really sad. But I don't know. It was just tedious and draining my energy, and I think everybody felt that way, other than my aunt. So anyway, but then a couple days later, my sister came to visit. She lives in another province, and she decided to surprise our mom. And so she came for the afternoon with another, one of her friends was a family friend of ours. Came down from Montreal, and that was great. It was really fun, and my mother was really, really happy, and it was really beautiful to see how happy that made my mother. Just really all she wants is to spend time with her kids, although I don't spend as much time as I think she deserves that I spend with her. Because she is a really great person. Or even I don't know. Okay, I guess it's not a good idea to get into this. It's complicated. A lot of people got sick over the holidays. I managed to be spared, at least temporarily. Then New Year's Eve, spent with some friends, very nice. But I did end up doing a lot of Adderall. And it was I was snorting extended release Adderall, which is a really bad idea. And so I ended up feeling really, really bad and sick for 3 or 4 days afterwards. It was a really awful experience, and I feel like a fucking idiot for having done that. Then the highlight was this music venue where I work. It was a Christmas party on the 10th, January 10th. And I was really anxious about like getting sick before that because the director, who is basically 3 out of 4 members of that band, a band called Daniel Cowman, are employees of this venue. And so the director, who's our friend, was like, "Hey, it would be cool if you played a couple songs." And so we did, and it was really cool. Was also, and I mean, the whole party was fun. I did end up. I went and stayed at my friend's place, and we ended up taking a cab and getting to his house at about 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun though. But yeah, we prepared 2 songs and we played them, and it was just really nice to see everybody like dancing and having a good time. And then the people there, or a lot of them I didn't know, were just like, "Hey, we want to hear another song." So we played another song, and they're like, "Want to hear another song?" I'm like, "You sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to hear another song." And so we ended up playing 4 songs, which was really nice. Um, and it felt really good to see people dancing and having fun while watching us perform. And then also, I got some really nice comments, and to just hear people like, no, we want to hear more of this music. We're really enjoying this music. Always feels really good. And I mean, I've only worked like 2 days. Yeah, it was last week, and then I ended up getting sick on Friday, and so I got my friend was nice enough to replace me. I was supposed to work on Saturday. Anyway, and I just got really sick. I haven't been this sick in years. I mean, I think it's the same virus that's been going around or something similar because, I know a few people who like missed all their Christmas gatherings. I've talked to several people, even at the Christmas party. Several people who I thought were going to be there were not there because they were sick. And yeah, I just fucking suck, man. Like, oh. And so I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I'm still coughing a little bit. But yeah, dude, I've just been like stuck at home. And in a way, it feels very sad that I didn't keep a recording from the last recording that I just attempted, because I did get pretty in depth about how I've been feeling recently. But suffice to say, I've just I realized yesterday how depressed I am. It was like 2:30 p.m. and I was like, I don't want to get out of bed, but I don't want to be in bed anymore because there's nothing for me here. I don't want to listen to a podcast. I don't want to like look at my phone because, so I was explaining in the other attempt, that morning, woken up early that morning, was having difficulty going back to sleep, and I ended up doom scrolling Reddit, and there was that photo that Donald Trump shared of like him with a like photoshopped or AI modified older picture of him at a table, and there's people sitting around the table, and he's there at the head of the table and pointing to a map, and this map in this edited version of the photo shows like America, I think North and South America, and the U.S. and Canada and Venezuela, and I believe like Cuba have this like stars and stripes pattern. I was just like, fuck, man. And it was yeah, I mean it just really fucked time. And it's really depressing and scary. And yeah, like these past few days, I've just been like in front of my computer, just like not even gaming, not even doing anything fun, just like scrolling and clicking and like not caring, but still doing it. And it's just been very heavy and depressing. And yeah, I've just been having a really tough time, man. And but yesterday I decided like I'm gonna shave because my beard was getting long and it was bothering me. And it felt good to do. And then today I want to take out the garbage and the recycling, and maybe just leave. And one of my friends lent me a drum machine. I also just don't want to go outside. It's not that cold, but anyway. So, okay, less than 10 minutes. I want to talk about a song from what I'm now realizing is my favorite album of 2025. And that album is The End of the Middle by Richard Dawson. I've talked about Richard Dawson before, but a couple weeks ago, for some reason, I was just really wanted to listen to this album again. And I started listening to it, and I was just really blown away about, like, how beautiful it is. I think it might be my favorite Richard Dawson album. So, like, from last year, I didn't really like listen to that much stuff that I, like from last year that really like blew me away. New Threats from the Soul by Ryan Davis and the Roadhouse Band. I thought it was going to be my favorite of the year, but I still think Dancing on the Edge is a better album. And it's definitely the album I listen to the most. But System by Prune was really good, although I haven't listened to it really that much. I was just really like, wow, sort of surprised at how good the album is. But this is something else. It's, I think, one of his prettiest albums. The arrangements are very simple. Definitely like much simpler than and of course the one he had before the Ruby Chord, his like latest solo full length album. Solo, he's got a band, but like under the Richard Dawson name. Because he did some stuff with Circle, which I tried to listen to a few times, but it really didn't click with me. And he's in this band called Hen Ogled, which I definitely respect for, and they just put out an album like yesterday, I think. I respect for being very weird, but it just doesn't click with me either. I think this album, I really connect with it emotionally, but it is also very pretty. I mean, there are moments of like more intensity and like tension, but it's sort of catchy. Like melodically, it's pretty catchy. And so this is an album that's like, I'd say it's similar to thematically to 2020 from 2019. But it's more focused. And I don't mean to say that like 2020 is unfocused, but it just 2020, which came out in 2019, so before the pandemic, which is wild that he made an album about 2020 that of course didn't include that. But it talks about a lot about like social issues in England, but also like in the world at large. But like in his, usual style of like a first-person narrative of, some character he's invented. But this one is more specifically about. It does talk about some social issues, but a lot of it's about like pain, like personal pain, about trauma, about like cycles of trauma, but like even more specifically about like breaking out of that, like like realizing what's wrong and then doing something concrete to try to get better, which speaks to me a lot. I think it speaks to, I mean, I imagine it speaks to everybody, but like, and so the song we want to talk about is Gondola, which a few weeks ago, like I said, I was listening to this album a lot more. I was doing janitorial work at the venue where I work, the music venue where I work, and I was like I was sweeping and I was just weeping. I was sweeping and I was crying at the same time listening to the song. And then one thing that motivated me to, I was thinking about doing weather report, but earlier tonight, this evening, I was doing the dishes. I was making myself something to eat, and I was like washing this bowl, and I was crying. I wasn't bawling while washing the bowl. I wasn't bawling, but anyway, I was crying again while washing this bowl because the song makes me cry, and it's a song about this again this like first person perspective of this woman who um, is probably an alcoholic. Like there's like lots of references to drinking and like you know persistent pain, um, and lots of references to television that I didn't notice at first. Shout out to Genius.com and the editors there for annotating the lyrics to the song with all the references to different um, uh, English television series. But so yeah, like there's this woman who I don't know if she's elderly, but she's like she's a grandmother, um, and she does a lot of drinking and watching TV, and it talks about how she wishes that she'd gone to university, but she just ended up working in her father's jewelry shop. But how anyway, like her brother was the clever one, right, in the family. Um, and I mean, I'm just gonna pull up some of the lyrics because it's so good. Um, I mean, the booze aisle is dark and wide, a cork upon its ceaseless tide. Let the darkness roll inside. And I went to work for Dad in the jewelry shop. I wish I had gone on to higher education, but Tom was always the clever one. Um, that's what I was talking about. And then there's more. Uh, One thing I love about Richard Dawson is like he'll just like say these he'll like just like say like describe these images or like here it's like um, Cash in the Attic, which is the name of a TV series, A Place in the Sun, the TV series, a very long overdue phone call from my son William, right, and then going back to the TV series. Anyway, I'm having difficulty articulating this, but he does this a lot um, in his songs, at least on this album and on 2020, of just these like short, like very quick images and like alternating back and forth between what's going on and these images that are associated. I just love it. It's very compact and potent in um, its use of like association and metaphor. And it goes deal or no deal or no deal or no deal or no deal. Box number 17 is open to reveal a wound that's never healed. So I was talking about like that persistent pain. And then just getting a little emotional. It's really this last verse that really, really, really gets to me. So I don't want any more regrets. My dreams died like dolphins in a net. I never got to go to Venice. And how many summers have I left? I still can't believe I'm grandma. Jen just passed her driving test. I'm going to put a couple of £1,000 towards a car and take her on a holiday. Make memories before it's all too late. There we are, beneath the Rialto Bridge, huddled in a gondola. And it's just this person who's like, who has this life filled with pain and with regret, and is doing what she knows how to do, which is to just try to drown out the pain, and her son doesn't even talk to her that much. And I mean, just the image of like, my dreams died like dolphins in a net. So beautiful. And she has this one thing to hold on to, is that maybe she can make use of the, relatively little time she has left to maybe spend a little bit of time with her granddaughter. How that image is so poked to her of them together, really close, underneath a bridge in Venice. I don't know, there's something about it that's so beautiful, And how in this, like, in just a couple of minutes, he's able to create such a rich and potent, like, image of a person's life, it's something I think about a lot. All the time that I've wasted, all the opportunities I've had to be with other people that I haven't taken. I just find that song so beautiful. It's sad. Sad because of the pain, that character went through, but beautiful because it's like, you can be. I don't know, it reminds me of the Louis C.K. had this TV series. Well, it wasn't on TV, it was released through his website. And I used to be a really big fan of that guy. Yeah. Anyway, despite being a fucking dickhead, he did make some really good art. And one of those was Horace and Pete. I don't remember exactly, but the comedian Stephen Wright had a this recurring role is like, anyway, this happens at, like, on like a bar, and but he's just like one of the patrons in the bar. I don't remember the context, but he ends up having this monologue about how he's tired of people. He's tired of people telling him that he's weak because he's struggling so much in life. And he was saying that, like, it's the opposite. And that he's struggling because he's strong. Because if he wasn't strong, he wouldn't be struggling. He just wouldn't be there, he'd be dead, or he wouldn't be around to struggle, So yeah, this song is, at least it's the one that's made me cry the most on this album so far. There are a few songs on a couple of songs that which are amazing songs. I don't really understand how they fit in thematically. Like the first one, Bolt, which I think with more time with the lyrics, I'll be able to sort of figure out what my interpretation of how it fits in. That's about the narrator is on the phone, and uh, his house gets hit by a bolt of lightning, and but then doesn't really know who's on the other line. But this is, yeah, it's like it was only a wrong number. I just hung up the call. That was so close. You were so close. I almost recognized the voice. I mean, a part of me is thinking about like the interpretation of, which I think I'm like projecting onto it. Sorry, 25 minutes. Shit. I'll just keep talking about it. I think one of the things is like, yeah, like I said before, just people just like realizing that they're like why they're fucked up. Some people are just realizing why they're fucked up. Some people are realizing, or sorry, have realized why they're fucked up, and are trying to make a change. And then there's also some people who have made a change, right? And who are not free from the difficulty of just being alive, but are free from this like one particular situation or this one particular pattern. And they're finally free. And so I guess like it might be an interpretation of like, sometimes like shit just fucking happens, and it's a catalyst to figuring out like how we can change, or like what we want to change. We don't understand really where it comes from, or like why it's so effective. So like that might be the metaphor of the lightning bolt. I don't know. And you have Gondola, and you have Bullies, which is probably like my second favorite song on the album, which is about like the narrator was like really like severely bullied as a child, and when he was in high school, I say he, but like I don't know what the gender is. In Gondola, the gender is like it's a woman. So this narrator, no, but I think it makes more sense if this is a man. Anyway, he's really bullied like when he's a child. Well, in high school, when he's a teenager, and that just like sort of like ends up fucking up his grades, and his relationship with his father, because his father is like really disappointed. It says, but ended up messing up my GCSEs, which are like, I don't really know exactly how it works in England, but it's like these like high school exit exams can help you like get into university and stuff, and like place you in universities. Yeah, much of my dad, but ended up messing up my GCSEs, much to my dad's disappointment. So like the only mention of the narrator's father is disappointment over grades, right? And so the narrator then, through help from a teacher, ends up getting an A and a B in English. And I mean, this is sort of like his last sort of like, I guess, hope, until he's able to get out of high school. Like, I'm in the library every lunchtime, far away from the noise outside, putting the finishing touches on my entry for this short story competition. He's able to find an escape in that. And so anyway, back then as an adult, he ends up getting a phone call while he's at work that his own son, narrator's son, ended up getting into a fight. Why am I describing this song? Like, just listen to it. just listen to it. It's not a complicated thing, but it is an example of like, the narrator doesn't, miraculously become like the best dad, but like he's definitely trying to maybe unknowingly like not repeat the same mistakes as his own father. It's a really beautiful song. And here's what I wanted to mention, though. There is something that happens. Like at the end of some like verses, stanzas, whatever, there's like a two chord pattern, and then um uh how do I even describe this? Um anyway, at the end of the song ends with this like chord motif that we've heard several times throughout the song, but it extends it. And it's so beautiful the way it's done, because it ends on like a very like sloppily like strummed and fretted chord. And the chord progression is beautiful. And I think it's on purpose. Like Richard Dawson like does often play with um like how the strength and the precision with which he strums, um it's hard to describe, but like he'll like make it sound worse for like a potent emotional effect. Like, I mean, he did that a lot on um his album Nothing Important from 2015. Like he just goes like at some points it's like he was like trying to like fucking break his guitar. Um and it was really effective. And just the way that like as he's playing this like final like set of chords, it gets less precise, and the like final chord, which I think ties into the lyrics of just like there's nothing perfect about this situation. Like this narrator didn't ask for any of this, is just fucking trying to like he like just like as he was trying to just like do whatever would be possible to just get through the end of his high school. And he's just trying to be a good dad. And because like at the end, like, you know, he doesn't really talk to his son for a week, and then they're at a football game, and you know, between, you know, some plays, he's just like, you know, turns to his son and tells him like, I know you have a good heart, you know, which isn't I guess maybe not the best thing that he could do, but like he's just trying. And the idea of this like imperfectly like strummed chord, um I mean, I guess that's also why like I just have like so much difficulty like understanding people whose relationship with music is like super like pristine music. To me, that's like so much farther away from the like lived experience of being a human, that like why wouldn't you want to have the most like human music? And especially now with like AI, I don't know, like I had this experience last year. It doesn't really matter what the context was, but I was watching like a performance of somebody doing like fingerstyle guitar, which I find like super corny. Um, and just doing the tapping and the harmonics and stuff. And I was a little drunk, and I was watching that. I sort of like hate watching it. I'm just like, who like wants this? I'm like, this is just clearly a guy who, and it was like somebody had filmed like an open mic ish sort of thing. I'm like, this guy's only gonna play at open mics because this guy plays guitar alone at home, because nobody wants to play this type of music except for a couple people, and nobody like people are gonna be like impressed by it, but it doesn't mean anything. And I started listening to like, I'm like, to contrast it out, I'm like, what is the antithesis of this music? I started listening to a bunch of old blues, and I'm like, this is like profoundly human and flawed and rough, just like the experience of being alive. And I'm like, these people like fucking almost 100 years ago, who, you know, might not have been able to read like these fucking poor ass people from the American South. It just made like the most beautiful music in the world. And this guy is just going. What the fuck, man? I don't know. Anyway, then the next song, The Question, which is the other song, which I don't know how it fits in. It's like a ghost story. But yeah, I'm running out of steam. I won't go through everything, but I'll probably talk about some more of these songs. It's already been 35 minutes, but well, it's longer than I expected. But it felt really good to talk about. It felt good to cry too. I think this is the first time I've cried in one of these. Anyway, I think I might go and like play with a drum machine at my friend's place. Later tonight, it's gonna keep snowing. And it's gonna go down to -7 degrees Celsius. 20 degrees Fahrenheit? That doesn't make any sense. What time is it now? Doesn't really make any sense. It says that it's currently -8 degrees Celsius. 17 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's going to be -7 degrees Celsius, 20 degrees Fahrenheit. I guess with the conversion, whatever. So it's going to be later. And listen to Richard Dawson. And have a good year. Hope to do this more frequently, but I keep saying that and I don't do it. So anyway, don't stop trying. Everything's really difficult, I think, sometimes. For some people, more often than not. But just keep trying, okay? Have a great night.